Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney, and I am here with your top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app on this Wednesday, February 16th. Remember, this is the newscast that you all choose because these are the stories that matter most to you, that you are clicking on and reading and sharing the most from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. I want to start off by saying happy 216 Day to everyone here in Cleveland. As you know, 216 is one of our area codes here in Cleveland, and with it being February 16th, this is the day we celebrate the land. I actually shared one of my favorite photos, or just a nostalgic photo to me on Instagram and on Twitter. You can check that out, _Stephanie Haney. Respond and share one of your favorite photos with me. I would love to hear it. I also have that conversation going on our 3 What's New Facebook page. If you're not a member of that page yet, you should absolutely join. It's a lot of fun. Just go to the groups section and search for 3 What's New. So with that, let's get into the top stories that you are clicking on today. Here's an important one. There's a flood warning for a lot of places here in Northeast Ohio because if you stepped outside today, you know that it's warming up. We got temperatures in the 50s today, and there's a lot of snow that's been on the ground for the past several weeks. So right now, a flood warning is in effect for Mahoning, Trumbull, Lorain, Holmes, Wayne, Summit, and Cuyahoga counties. That could get tricky. And our 3 News chief meteorologist Betsy Kling tweeted earlier today that now Tuscarawas and Carroll counties are added to a flood watch. So that means there's some kind of situation, either a watch or warning for the entire WKYC viewing area. And there is heavy rain expected tomorrow. Now these watches at least are in effect until at least 7 a.m. on Friday. Why is this an issue? Well, it's the snowpack. If you've had snow in your area, and if you're here in Northeast Ohio, chances are you have had a significant amount of snow stacking up over the past couple weeks. The National Weather Service for the Cleveland area says we've got about 2 to 4 inches of water in that snowpack, okay? That's a lot of inches of water, and it's going to have to go somewhere when that snow melts over the next couple days. You know, it's going to get a little bit colder according to our meteorology team here on Saturday, but a couple days next week too where we're in the 50s. So keep an eye on that with that snowpack melting, and also with that heavy rain coming on Thursday. Definitely potential for some pretty sticky situations with the flooding. So keep an eye on that. Okay, now let's talk about our latest COVID-19 numbers. These are in from the Ohio Department of Health. Today, we see a slight increase in the number of COVID cases. The number is 2,433 new COVID-19 cases in the last day. Right now, hospitalizations down a bit. That's a positive. That number, 1,929 people being treated in a hospital for COVID-19. Out of those people, 395 of them are being treated in an ICU situation. So that number also a little bit down from yesterday. Now let's turn our conversation to the Olympics. If you've been following the Olympics, you know figure skating is a huge event at the Winter Olympics. So there's a lot of conversation going on among one of the top Russian Olympic Committee ice skaters. Her name is Kamila Valieva, and there's some new information coming out that might undermine the credibility of her defense about a banned substance that she tested positive for in December. So here's what is now coming to light. And the CEO of the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency says this new revelation of these 2 legal substances really undermines the credibility of her defense. Now, what was found in her system is something that is called trimetazidine, okay? But what she listed on a form saying that she would have 2 other substances in her system. Those substances are L-carnitine and another oxygen-boosting performance enhancer, okay? So her having these in her system tends to overcut the fact that she didn't know, or that she accidentally had the other one in her system, because these are known to increase oxygen flow to the heart. And they tried to ban some of these substances on the ban list. However, they were not able to do it. And the one is only allowed to be in your system below a certain threshold. So the fact that she has these 2 things in her system, L-carnitine and hypoxin, that's the other one, officials are saying potentially undercuts her defense. Now, the Associated Press saw a legal brief that was filed supposedly by the World Anti-Doping Agency, and 2 people with knowledge of the case told the Associated Press that this brief was authentic. It's not available to the public, so that's why they needed that authentication. Now, in that brief, Valeva's mother said that the skater's grandfather is a regular user of trimetazidine, and that would explain how it got into her system. But WADA said that the explanation involves some form of exposure to trimetazidine, but it's not an argument that she had taken a contaminated product. She would have to have taken a contaminated product to use that as a defense. Now, WADA says there's no attempt to argue that the legal substances that she listed were contaminated, so that's not meeting the criteria to have that suspension lifted. I know, super complicated situation. We've got the whole thing on WKYC.com so that you can read through it. Now, if it's proven later that she actually was not eligible to compete because of that banned substance testing positive for her back on December 25th, then Team USA figure skating bumps up to gold medal winners over the Russian Olympic Committee. So that will be resolved later. It was just determined by the IOC that she could skate through the Winter Olympics, and then this issue of whether she was actually permitted to do it would be figured out later. So there won't be any medal ceremonies for events that she takes the podium in. She is a favorite for gold. She was leading the short program on Tuesday. Something else about U.S. figure skating. There was one woman who wore pants, and that is a new rule development, okay? So this is something that the judges might take notice of. As the Swedish figure skater Josefina Tallegard, she stood out on Tuesday. She was the only one of 30 people competing in the short program who wore pants. And she said she chose it because it fits the music. She felt very strong and confident in the clothes. Now, she skated a beautiful program, but she did not advance to the free skate on Thursday night. Now, this stands in contrast to the women in ice dance, one of 4 figure skating disciplines at the Beijing Games. In the ice dance event, 6 out of 23 women wore pants for those rhythm dances on the first day of competition last week. People did change into the traditional skirts for other events in that particular competition, but a big conversation happening about that one person, that one particular skater who chose to wear pants in the short program on Tuesday and did not advance. Bringing it back here home, in the field for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame fan vote, we have a bit of a change at the top in terms of who is leading the fan vote. Right now, Duran Duran has edged out Eminem just barely for the most votes. Right now, Duran Duran has 249,538 votes, and Eminem has 249,335 votes. So that's a difference of 203 votes right now. The rest of the top 3 did not change from last week. Number 3, Pat Benatar. Number 4, Dolly Parton. Number 5, the Eurythmics. That is standings as of this morning. Now, if your favorite performer is not in the top 5, remember there are 17 nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony this year. You have until April 29th to vote. The top 5 people with the fan vote will be placed on a fan ballot. That'll be tallied with other ballots when the inductees are selected, and the final list of inductees will come out in May. The ceremony will be in the fall, and we'll find out where that will be later. But the link to do that is on WKYC.com. And we have to send congratulations to former UFC heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic. He's been sworn in as a Westlake firefighter, so congratulations to him. He's originally from Independence, and prior to being sworn in Westlake, he worked at Oakwood and Valley View fire departments. You know, he is also a 2-time UFC heavyweight champion. Now, the last time he fought was in March of 2021. At that time, he lost the title of heavyweight champion to Francis Ngannou. He was knocked out at UFC 260 in March of 2021. But still, Stipe Miocic has the most heavyweight title defenses in UFC history, with 4 of those before he was knocked off the top back in March. So it's been about a year since he last fought, and now there is potential swirling around about a dream fight between John Bones Jones and Miocic. It was on Twitter that Jones rumored the fight, or talked about the rumored fight. He teased it, and he said that that would be a pretty great fight. He said it'd be the greatest heavyweight of all time versus the greatest light heavyweight of all time. So that would be John Bones Jones. We'll see what happens there. We will be following that. And since it is Wednesday this week, we do have your good news break this week. I have to say congratulations again as well to Cleveland Browns Johnny Stanton and his new fiancee, Maddie Granville. They got engaged. That's one of our stories. You have to see what his relative had to say about the engagement. It's absolutely adorable. Plus, you know what? We're in the thick of winter. It's nicer today, but we do have more cold weather coming. And if you are into the snow sports at all, or even if you're not, you have to hear this pep talk from this adorable 4-year-old girl who got mic'd up while on the snowboard by her parents. You do not want to miss it. That's in the Good News Show this week. You can find that in the WKYC Instagram story. It's linked to the WKYC YouTube page. It's going to make you smile this week. You really need to check it out. And then pay attention for next week. Make sure you subscribe to the WKYC YouTube page because we are changing things up a bit, and we will have the Good News Show coming out on Thursdays starting next week. That's it for your 3 News Now update today for Wednesday, February 16th, which is also, by the way, the start of NBA All-Star events here in Cleveland. It is NBA All-Star weekend. Get everything you need to know about that. Use the hashtag 3AllStar. Find it all on WKYC.com. Listen to my conversation with David Gilbert on this week's 3 Things to Know podcast. You can find that at WKYC.com/3 Things to Know. Let us know what you're seeing out there and all of the happenings and events for NBA All-Star Weekend here in Cleveland. And I will see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.